Hi everyone, my name is Karen and I'm the Director and Head Trainer at Head to Toe First Aid here in Adelaide. I'm really excited that Jade asked me to do a series of videos for you all on choking. One of the main reasons that I started Head to Toe First Aid was in my role as a practice nurse. I started to see that a lot of parents hadn't had the opportunity to do a first aid course, and there weren't many first aid courses out there that were targeted towards a parent's, a grandparent's and a caregiver's needs about what they particularly needed to know when looking after their children from a first aid perspective. That's what Head to Toe First Aid specialises in, as well as doing nationally recognised courses. We run parent first aid courses both in your own home and as community classes as well, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. My background is that of a nurse, and in particular a practice nurse. So I've worked for many years with families, and I'm also a mum, so on a first-hand experience I get what it's like to look after children and their first aid needs as well. So the first video that I'm doing today is about the prevention of choking, and then we'll move on to, in another week or so, we'll move on to the next video, which will be about how to know how to manage choking. So for today I wanted to talk a little bit about prevention, because I find that is the most important thing for first aid. If you can prevent something from happening, you're in a much better situation. I know when you start your child on solids, it can be a little bit of it's an exciting time, it's a new stage and that's really exciting, but it can also be a little bit worrisome if you're a bit unsure about what to watch out for and what they should be having and shouldn't be having. And I mean, that's a whole topic in itself, but certainly from a choking perspective, there needs to be an awareness of the sorts of foods that are most have the biggest choking risk, shall I say. Those foods, as you're probably aware, are things like grapes, cherry tomatoes, things that are this sort of shape because they are the perfect size to fit down someone's airway. They're slippery because there's nothing to grab hold of, and they're really hard to get out. So the other sorts of things would be hard-boiled lollies, mini eggs, sausages. Frankfurter sausages also come into that. But you know what? Anything that a child can bite off and are at risk of swallowing whole. So what that means is that you should be introducing food to your child that's suitable to their developmental age, so suitable to their tongue control, their neck control, their head control, and again, like I say, that's a whole topic in itself. When you are introducing those foods, make sure that they're an appropriate size. So you're not going to go giving this or a grape, sorry, I'd run out of grapes today, to your child to chew on. There's a high risk that they might inhale that, causing choking. Ideally, you're not even going to cut it in half that way, because look, the diameter is still exactly the same. What you want to do is cut it in half lengthwise as an absolute minimum, preferably into quarters, because what you've done there is you've changed the diameter and it will be able to slip down easier with less risk of choking as well. Same goes for sausages, Frankfurt sausages, and in future videos I'll tell you about a bit of a scary story that happened to my daughter involving sausages, because they are also a high risk food, a yummy food, but they need to be chopped appropriately. Once you're aware of all of those foods and you've minimised the risk by chopping things all up, what you next need to do is never leave your child to eat by themselves, okay? Choking can happen in the blink of an eye, and it's not a loud thing. The risky choking is quiet and silent. So you need to watch your child and assess what you can hear and what you can see to decide how they're coping with the food. And that's something that we'll touch on more in the next video that I'll be talking about as well. So now you've chopped your food, you're watching them, you're not leaving them even for a split second, even just to go to the toilet with something. Just remove their food from them for a little while you go to the toilet and come back and give it to them. There's lots of stories out there of how a child choked in split seconds. The next thing to be aware of is if a child is running around, moving around whilst eating and they slip, things can go down the wrong hole pretty quickly. So encourage your child, make some rules around your house that they sit down when they're eating and that they're still, and that eating time is a time that you sit down. I know what it's like as a parent. Often when children are moving, it's easier to feed them, but actually that is a choking risk. The last thing to think about is never make a child laugh or cry, and I know you're not going to intentionally make them cry, but never make them laugh or cry while they're eating. What happens is they have they exhale, so they're laughing or crying, and then they take a big breath in, and that's if they've got food in their mouth, they're at risk of inhaling that down, and that's exactly what happened to my daughter in the sausage story that I'll tell you about in our next video. So I hope that's helped you to just have a little bit of a think as you're introducing solids, or how your family feeds your children, about the things to watch out for to help avoid choking. So prevention is the best first aid, and it's the most powerful thing that you've got. In the next video that I will be doing, I'll be talking about how you know whether your child's in danger from a choking perspective, and that's because I know that a lot of people know about the 5 back blows and the 5 chest thrusts, but they don't know when to start doing it, and that's what the next video will be on. So keep an eye out for that. If anyone's got any questions, jump over onto my Facebook page, Head to Toe First Aid. I'd love to answer any of your inquiries, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all on my next video. Thanks, bye.